the shadow people, I doubt we're recording this, but in the event that we do, the shadow people are Shane, how would you describe the shadow people?
Sort of like this constant feeling that in the periphery of your vision there's a figure, and then every time you go to look for it, it's not there. And any amount of light, obviously, and then casting shadows like definitely enhances this. And so it just is this constant feeling that like somebody's like right around the corner, and so under the right circumstances, if you're at the right place in the right time, let's just say, that feeling will aid you in this feeling that somebody's like tailing you, or somebody's like in the room with you, or somebody's like hiding from you.
Right.
But you can't exactly discern where they are.
So that being said, the thing about a place like Santa Rosa, where there's like a lot of homeless people and they're all doing math and they're all like having these like shadow people hallucinations, is that you really can't be sure. Like if you see some figure in the bushes like doing some weird shit, like there's a solid 50-50 chance that it is an actual homeless person doing weird shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, and like you can't ever tell. You know what I'm saying? And like sometimes, so like a lot of like it really feeds that sort of delusion that like a lot of the time, like man, like if I think I'm seeing people in the bushes, like there are people in the bushes.
Right.
Oh Jesus Christ!
There was this one time, man. I'll keep this brief. I know we don't have a lot of time here to record, but I was
I don't know. This is good.
I was like, me and my buddy, we were sitting outside of the this Valero gas station, and we weren't even sitting outside of it. We were like sitting over like on the curb by the bushes, by the where they have like the air and the vacuums and stuff. And we were sitting there, and we sat there all night, and we'd both been doing amphetamine, and like we watched like some of the most bizarre shit going on. Like, so like this is like a store like that. It's like a 24-hour store. So like this is like the kind of place that like all throughout the night, people who are like on the streets and like up on methamphetamine like this, they all sort of congregate around a place like this. And like it was me and him sitting there, and then there was this woman like on the other side of the parking lot, like just yelling at nothing. She was just like having an argument she was just like screaming across the street at somebody who wasn't there. And then like behind us across the street, like on the front steps of this other business, there was this guy, and he'd been doing it for like an hour or more. He was like doing like air karate, or like he was like practicing like he was like practicing taekwondo or some shit, right? And then there was that, and then there was like two other people like standing outside of the store being weird. And then there was like this other guy that like I watched him like I watched him like he like sat down on the curb near us, and he laid back in the bushes or something, and then he started like taking his boots off and like looking in his boots and like holding his boots up to his, like I don't know what the hell he was doing. And then there was another woman like in the car wash, like I was like watching, and like this is one of those ones where it's like, is this the shadow people, or is this a real person? But I was like looking at him, and there's this woman, like she's like literally just like standing in the car wash, and she's like she's got like a bag at each hand, and she's just standing there, and she's like staring daggers at me. It's like horror movie shit, right? And then this like, so like all of this is going on. There's like me included, there's like 8 of the most like insane and intimidating people in this town, like all in this gas station parking lot, right? And there's specifically this woman in the car wash. It's getting pretty, we've been there all night. It's probably like 6 in the morning by this point, 7 in the morning by this point, and like someone pulls into the parking lot in a car to use the car wash, and I see them like go around. I see them like the car washes are on the back of the gas station. I see them going around, and I watch them like pull in, right? And then this like as soon as they pull around the corner and start pulling in the car wash, this woman that's in there just darts her head around the other direction and like just like stares like right at, doesn't move, you know what I'm saying? Doesn't move, but just like reacts in this like most like almost like animalistic type way, like stares at this person, and they just like they threw it in reverse so quickly and just bounced, just left the area completely.
God, man. God.
So that's what Santa Rosa's like.
I obviously can't hang with that sort of intensity, but there was a moment. I remember, first off, there's this allegory that Winston Churchill would talk about his depression, and I believe he referred to it as this black dog that would come to haunt him and visit him from time to time, I think is how he described it. And I remember a few years back, I was up at my folks' place, and I was working in the garage with my father, and we were doing something on a car or lawnmower or something like that. And it was like maybe a June day, so it's not like too hot, but it was in the morning, probably early in the morning, like I don't know, 8 or something like that. And it was raining and very foggy and just kind of like just a low hanging cloud sort of day. And I had always thought about this, like, you know, one of the scariest things to me is like not necessarily losing your mind when you're like on drugs or something like that, but like the thought of like losing your mind when you're just like sober and lucid.
Yeah.
Like that to me is like a terrifying, anxiety producing thought even. And I was always like, well, you know, I don't know, maybe it'll happen one day to me or something. And I'll just like realize that, you know, there's this darkness. And we were just preoccupied working in the garage or something like that. My father went inside the house, and I looked down to the end of the driveway towards the street, and I turned my head, and I just like, it would just hit me. It was like, and there was this black dog standing at the end of the driveway, utterly motionless, completely still, just staring holes directly into me. And I remember the first thought that I had was, here it is. That's it. I fucking lost it. I see this hound, this beast, this specter haunting me from the end of the driveway, and it has come for me, and it has come for my soul. It turns out the neighbor had got this black lab, and I guess it just got off the lead that he had it in the back. But fuck, I thought that was it for me. I thought it was like it finally happened.
It comes up to you and it starts giving you like the Son of Sam like commands, and it's like, Dwight, you must start a podcast.
No, I thought it was just gonna talk to me like fucking Black Phillip and be like, dost thou want to live deliciously? Speaking of the Black Death,
I know.
Jesus Christ, Jane.
Yeah.
But you're doing better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if any of the listeners have been tracking it, but me and Carrie got pretty sick last week, and it's still we're starting to come around, but it was touch and go there for a while. It was really freaky because like obviously it's happening in the middle of this pandemic, and you know a lot of the symptoms, the stuff we had lined up with it. I mean, we were talking before we were recording. I mean, it's very likely it was just a really bad case of the flu as well. But we had really bad fever for a couple days, and then a long, strong, persistent cough. She has some trouble breathing and stuff. And the freakiest thing about it was like, I mean, and this was even a couple days ago before the panic really seemed to set in. It was just like it was impossible to get any treatment or testing for it. You know, I called everywhere I could, and they were just like, no, don't come in. Like, I didn't even really want to, because I was thinking about this. I don't know if this is like a generational thing, or if this is just a specifically me thing, because I had, when I started to suspect that, we were symptomatic and stuff, like, and I started telling other people, all these other people were like, oh, you should like try to like, you should call like the public health service, or you should call this or call that, and just like my immediate reaction was like, they're not going to do anything. Like, this is a failed state. Like, there's absolutely no protection or whatever. But I eventually decided, fuck it, I'll do it just to be on the safe side. And of course, it was just all, it was all the same shit. It was like, stay inside, don't do anything. And there were moments where I was really worried because, again, like I said, Carrie was having trouble breathing, and I was worried, she was going to get pneumonia or something. And they were just like, yeah, no, don't come in, don't do anything. But it struck me how like instinctually my instinct was to just be totally distrustful of any of the institutions to be helpful at all in any circumstance. Again, I don't know if it's generational or if it's just my own paranoia, but you know what I mean? Like, I just don't
dude,
I mean, especially now. I mean, we were recording this on Saturday, and just yesterday the president came out and gave his like emergency speech, which is just like incredibly laden with bullshit and not at all comforting in even the most basic way.
I didn't I missed it. I didn't watch any of that one. I watched the one the other night when he was in the Oval Office, the really short one.
Yeah, well, I mean, I can kind of summarize it for you, Chris. Trump has coronavirus.
Yeah, I figured that.
Like,
I figured that.
My man was not looking well at all.
It's just it's so odd, and it's like such an obvious on its face lie that what a weird way that he and his administration would go about doing it. Like in order to deny that he has it, they're just gonna say, oh no, he hasn't been tested. He's not gonna get tested. When everything that we publicly know about this man, going back decades, supposedly as a germaphobe, he was getting tested fucking 6 times a day. He was getting tested. Of course he was. Like, why would anybody believe that he wasn't? Yeah. And fucking, Bolsonaro. Is that confirmed? He supposedly has it. Hopefully by the time this airs, he'll be dead.
No, they said he had it, then they said actually it came back negative. So,
but then I thought they said that he did. I'm not sure.
It's going to be a lot of scrambling subterfuge nonsense bullshit that's going to come out anyway.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what I was thinking about. I was imagining the other day, imagine how if the president dies, or not even the president himself, just people in his administration, top American political figures. Imagine how all of that's going to get folded into the QAnon narrative. That's what I'm pretty excited for that, honestly. Let's see how I'm interested to see how they make sense of all of it.
I actually had a really dark thought about thinking about what if Trump is incapacitated by a severe illness or something like that, because and anybody that's he is the oldest president that the United States has ever had. I had the dark thought that I had was, at least Trump is dumb, but Pence would come in and would swiftly and deftly mandate conversion therapy for the nation or something.
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
That was always my thought about the liberal preoccupation with impeachment. It's at least Trump is dumb and incompetent. Do you want President Mike Pence? Is that what you really want?
But to that end, the most amazing moment, and I really do want to walk through a little bit of the of his speech, because it was it was just so fucking bizarre. But there was a moment when they started taking questions, and somebody asked him why, do you take any responsibility for this, and why did you liquidate the pandemic response thing that's part of the
for the CDC,
NSC, or for the CDC, because they did that before any of this happened, for supposedly to reduce administrative costs. And he on camera was just I don't even know what you're talking about, and he just started pointing to the other members of his administration that were behind him and saying did you guys do that?
Oh my god.
And there's an element of it, right, where he could just be lying or whatever, but the way that he said it to me and Kara were watching, and we were both just oh, he really doesn't know. He has no idea what the fuck is going on.
He genuinely doesn't know. He has no idea what's going on day to day.
He probably was just strip everything down. You know what I mean? And then the fucking minions went out and did it. But Chris, I'm sure you saw at least people posting about it and stuff. But
a little bit.
The bizarre thing about the whole thing, because the whole idea was this was intended to be mostly this is our response, and this is going to be our comfort thing. It was literally just he came out with about, I want to say 20 CEOs of major retail companies, and then health commodity production company CEOs, and he just did a parade of them and was you come up next, and then they would speak for 20 to 30 seconds, and it was all about how the private sector is going to save us, and it was entirely, in my mind, for that end, the comfort there was provided to the market, right? That was the idea.
Yes.
It was designed to make the market not panic. But the whole idea is Walgreens and Walmart and all the big box stores are gonna let a small portion of their parking lot be available to be set up for these drive-through testing things, and then these private companies are gonna make the tests. That was the announcement.
Target has generously provided a portion of their parking lot to be provided for the future mass graves.
Yeah, I mean, this has been occupying my mind since yesterday, and I have had such like visceral responses to it, like literally corporal responses to that press conference that I really can't even fucking believe it happened. And I remember, Shane, in like, I think the episode that we did with Ellie Valley, we were talking about like one of the definitions of fascism is the turning over of key portions of the state to private entities.
Yeah.
That I could not get out of my head when I was watching this. And business guys that comprise the administration can only think of a response in one that primarily benefits businesses.
Right.
And for them to turn over key portions of the state in response to what is an unprecedented global pandemic that we're living in and that we're currently quarantined in, literally right now as we're recording this and talking about this, like we are all tacitly self-quarantining if we're not like holding a fucking pack of frozen peas on our eye because we got punched out over some fucking Charmin.
Yeah.
Like it's fucking terrifying and spooky to me that this is what the response is.
Like the whole idea that it's supposed to be comforting that like, oh look, here's the CEO of Walmart. You guys trust Walmart, right?
Yo.
I should probably watch this speech.
Oh, it's so I think really this is going to be for me canonically one of the key Trump speeches because for his portion of it, he was reading from a pre-written speech, but he kept going off script and he kept meandering and like losing track of what he was saying. But then when the parade of CEOs came up, it was literally he would just call out their name, they would come up, they would speak for 20 seconds, and he would just go, "Great job, tremendous, fantastic," and then he would call the next guy, and it was just it was like a beauty pageant for business assholes.
My favorite part was when he was like he was talking about some website that was being set up.
Oh my God, yes.
And he said something like, "Much better than other websites."
Yeah.
And I'm like, is he fucking referring to healthcare.gov?
Yes, yeah. He obviously was talking about the Obama website. By the way, I have a bit I'd like to talk about with that. Maybe if I can inject it here. The website he brought up.
Yeah, please.
Yeah.
So he one of his key things during his speech was, and they kept hammering it. It wasn't just him. Then Pence came up and talked about it. A couple other people talked about it. They said they're building a national website in partnership with Google to do a nationwide website. And then they brought up this stupid like poster board flow chart that's some lady just literally held up, which was basically you're gonna go to the website, you're gonna put in your symptoms, and then it's gonna tell you if you have the symptoms whether or not you should go get tested or not. And if you do, then it's gonna direct you. It's gonna tell you here's your local here's your local fucking Carl's Jr. parking lot to
Failed
go
state,
like
dude.
do the drive-through, right? Now the other thing they kept throwing out was
Here's my question real quick. Can we? Is there no way to shovel a couple $1 million into developing an app that can do that? Why can't we get an app to do that?
No, okay, so here's the best part about it, right? So they kept saying 1,700 engineers. Trump kept saying Google has 1,700 engineers working on this, and they said it's going to be rolled out on Sunday night. That was what they said. They said by Sunday night we're going to have this website up. It's going to be better than the Obamacare website. So then, immediately after that speech was done, this article came out from Wired, and I'm just going to read the title of it because it says it all. Trump caught Google off guard with a bogus coronavirus site announcement. So he just fucking made it up. And so apparently what had happened, right, is that Google responded and said, there's no nationwide site being set up. One of our like sister companies in the Alphabet family is called Verily, which is like a health website startup thing. Verily, they're doing a small thing in the Bay Area for like a local website, and they're not even sure if it's going to be out by Sunday.
Oh my God.
And so I'm not going to read through the whole article right now because I'm just going to cough through it, but so then I looked into Verily, and I was like, so what's this? And so Verily is owned by Josh Kushner.
Stop. Shane, fucking stop, dude.
Yeah.
Are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah.
Is he the brother?
Yeah. He's the brother of Jared Kushner.
Is he the one who the father tried to set up a sting operation with him and a prostitute?
I don't know too much about him, but yeah. So the whole thing was, I was like, once I saw that, I mean, I started laughing really hard when I saw it because they basically just made up this thing. But it occurred to me what almost certainly happened, right? Is they sat down, they had a meeting with like Trump and all the other, his stooges and the
Yes.
other business people there or whatever. And somebody floated the idea of like, why don't we do a website and we'll make it better than the Obamacare website? And then somebody else said, oh, Jared probably said, oh, my brother is working on this thing, in tandem with Google, there. And so then they just got this idea in their heads like, oh, we'll do like a Google website. And then nobody bothered to look into it any further or like make a call or anything. And it just is one of those ideas that started snowballing as people pitched it around, and people just kept saying, oh yeah, the website will be great, so we'll direct people to the website. And nobody even thought to do the bare minimum of like a follow-up call.
Nope.
But so let me get this straight. It wasn't just Trump talking about it, like, because I could see that happening with Trump, like him like overhearing something in a meeting and like mishearing it, and then like it turning into something else in his head, and then him saying it publicly, and people have to be like, what the fuck are you talking about? But they were all saying it.
No, everybody brought it up. They had they had a poster board made
flowchart thing
with instructions to go to this non-existent website. That's step one if you think you have coronavirus.
Fucking unreal.
And the 1700 number, I was like, that's a really weird number, because at the end of the day, it's a website that's just like, it's a survey, then plus like a geolocation thing to just tell you where this thing is. It wouldn't take that many people. So I haven't confirmed this yet, but my guess is somebody at some point said, oh, verily, that company, like 1700 people work there.
Yes.
And then that number just got thrown around a lot to the point where then it became 1700 of Google's top engineers, and it just snowballed to the point where everybody's like, yeah, okay, it sounds good.
All of who are working from home.
Right, exactly.
All Google North American employees are working from home now.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, this is bad, man.
Yeah.
This is bad. We got an appetizer to understand how the Trump administration will handle disasters.
Right.
In Hurricane Maria in Puerto Rico, which is he's going to come out, throw some fucking paper towels at some people's heads, jokingly throw you remember he was like going to jokingly throw a can?
The can of water. Yeah. He's like,
am I going to do it?
I'm just messing with you.
And we're all going to die. I mean, to bring this into like the larger perspective of American healthcare, I mean, people were kind of trotted out on CNN and MSNBC to say like, if you're feeling symptomatic, contact your primary care physician. A few things wrong with that. Number one, I'm gripping this pen like I'm going to shatter it in my hands. Number one, only 75% of Americans have a primary care physician.
Yeah, I don't have one.
I don't have one.
Yeah, okay, there you go. There are still 60 some odd million underinsured or uninsured Americans.
Mm-hmm.
B, I think I'm on C now. I think for anybody that even does have a primary care physician, A, they'll be entirely overwhelmed. And B, how do you even contact them? You can't get doctors on the phone. This isn't the fucking 50s. This isn't fucking Lassie, where like a doctor will come with like a leather satchel into your house for some reason and like not charge you anything and just walk away. There's no way to scale that. And that's why, like in the experience that you had, Shane, even when you're presenting the symptoms of COVID-19, even when you're presenting the symptoms, they're just like, yeah, I don't know, stay home, drink water. There's no, it's a fucking failed state.
Yeah.
This is, I think, like going to be like a 9/11 moment in the sense that it changes the entire way that we live.
I mean, one of the scariest things that occurred to me during that conference, the press conference, was the line that they kept repeating over and over that Trump said and a number of the CEOs said, and I believe Pence said it, was something along the lines of like, there were all these old constraints that we've now removed so that like basically business can do its job. And I guarantee that in the midst of this panic, their primary concern, and I'm sure they're working on some version of it right now, is to further deregulate the insurance industry and the healthcare industry as a whole. There's going to be some broad package, and it's going to go before Congress, and it's going to be called like the COVID-19 Patriotic Response Bill. And all that's going to be included in it is like, they'll have some like tokenistic, fucking quarantine camp set up in a Costco gas station. And then besides that, it'll be like just stripping away every last remaining regulation or whatever that's attached to healthcare in this country. That's their primary concern, and they don't care about anything beyond that. I don't know. I mean, obviously we're in the midst of a bit of a panic. It's hard to know for sure what's true, but I saw a headline yesterday that I think the Ohio state government said that they estimate around 100,000 people have contracted it it in Ohio.
And yet, as of like two or 3 days ago, they were saying that the CDC was saying that there are only like 2,500 confirmed cases, which then it's a measurement problem.
Well, I think the thing in Ohio, if I remember correctly, in reading it, was that was simply based on, I guess, like the percentage of the population that could potentially be infected, based on the state population. Like it didn't seem to be based on anything other than just like a rough estimate, like based on how it's known to spread and how many people are in the state. It could be up to 100,000 or something. It doesn't seem to be anything other than like just a statistical estimate, Well,
I mean, the other thing too, and I mean, this is just anecdotal from my experience. When I called to see if I should go get tested, and I spoke to this epidemiologist on the phone, and her response was basically like, unless you know that you've been in contact with somebody who's already been diagnosed with the virus, you don't have it. Which to me,
that's fucking insane.
Is insane because the whole point is that then nobody would know because there's no tests. There's no way to know for sure, right? So the logic, I mean, I think part of like her role was just to try and mitigate more panic, which again I understand to a certain extent, but and I don't necessarily fault her, but the logic there is crazy because then there's no like again if you can't be tracking anybody, then like anybody could have it and could be passing it to multiple people, and there's no way to know for sure. It's a weird logic, but it's again like you said, it's a way to observe how a completely failed fucking infrastructure can't deal with this, right? There's no way. It just shatters all of the glitzy bullshit that's like surrounding, as you so often put it, Thunderdome that is American capitalism. It just shatters it all away until you see it for what it is, which is just a string of bare bones attached and a bunch of rich people standing at the top of it with giant bags of money. And the rest of us are all just fucked fighting over, the one last remaining test / roll of toilet paper with chainsaws.
I literally I visited 5 different stores last night. I could not find any toilet paper.
That is insane.
But no, like I'm starting to I think that it's gonna be a couple days, probably within a couple days, I'm really gonna start. I like probably am going to know or see people in my day-to-day life that do have it because I think that I haven't looked at what the statistics are today. I think that yesterday there was like 20-something confirmed cases in Suffolk County, I guess as it spreads out from the city. The day before, I believe it was one known case, but like, for me, my concern on a personal level is that like quarantine is not really possible, as you guys know, and as some of the listeners likely know, my job is as the live-in manager of a sober house. And so, first of all, actually, hopefully they're not putting any new residents in the house for the time being, but like, I could live with potentially up to 13 other guys. There's only 8 other guys here right now, but that's a lot of people. I mean, even just based on that and common areas and sharing bathrooms and sharing kitchens and stuff like that, like it's like any kind of real significant self-quarantine is just, for me, isn't possible. And especially because, and here's the thing, and I asked one of the guys at the outpatient center down the road yesterday what's going to happen with this, because these guys here, the residents in the house, they have to go to outpatient 5 days a week. I was talking to one of the counselors yesterday, and I was like, at what point are they going to cancel this? At what point are they going to tell these guys to stay in? Because these guys, they're going down the street every day, and they're sitting in small rooms with other people from other places who are going to outpatient, many of whom are people who are coming straight out of jail or coming straight out of detox centers, in hospitals, coming straight out of inpatient treatment centers, all the types of places where the infection is likely to spread or be really severe. And so I think about all the different ways in which this will get to me and get to my house, and like I definitely feel very like a stronger likelihood than many that it will meander its way to me in my house pretty soon. It's nerve-wracking. It's utterly nerve-wracking. And I was asking asking the guy yesterday, I was like, man, at what point are they going to cancel outpatient for these guys? Because it doesn't, I mean, this is a public health crisis, and like I know that you're making a ton of money off of, hitting these guys Medicaid every day when they come for outpatient, 5 days a week. But like, at what point is keeping them safe going to be more important?
To that point, I think it'd be helpful, maybe for our listeners, if I can share a little bit of the information that I've learned on the actual transmission and the symptoms of the disease, and then I want to tie it into like American life and seeing how it's like actually going to shake out. Because to your point, Chris, I'll tie it in a second. But as far as transmission goes, firstly, this is a completely fluid disease, right? And we don't know how it's even going to respond to warmer weather. Diseases like the influenza, like, capital F flu, tends to go away in warmer weather, just because that's just the nature of the virus. We don't know how that's going to go with COVID-19. But primarily, it is not as much an airborne disease as much as it is something that's transmitted through droplets. So, for instance, if you sneeze, if part of your airway, is expressed, and the virus lives in droplets that you may sneeze and touch your hand and then touch the pole of a bus or a subway car or something like that, or if you touch door handles, and then another person touches those same surfaces that you have expressed some of your airway against, and then touches their mucous membranes on their face, their eyes, their nose, their mouth, whatever.
It can survive airborne, can it not? Am I mistaken? I thought I saw something yesterday or the day before saying that it can, for a period of time, survive airborne to be spread.
Yeah, but very minimally from what I understand. I mean, The droplet thing is such that if you're within space of somebody that is infected with it, that is presenting symptoms for 15 minutes, and you're within 6 feet of them. So that's kind of how it is. So exactly to your point about the 6 feet for 15 minutes thing. I mean, office mates, waiters that are working in close quarters with people. How many single adults do we cohabitate with as millennials because we can't afford our own housing? Like how many people here in New York City, how many millennials in New York City are sharing, one bathroom with 6 roommates? Or in your case, Chris, exactly like that. I mean, so the CDC came out and said, officially, if there is somebody, because it tends to spread familially, because if you can imagine, you all touch the same fucking doorknob a million times in the house or whatever during the day.
Kiss each other on the mouth.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
So I've lost my train of thought.
They got to know who's boss, man. They all got to pay tribute.
Hey, man, come here. So the CDC came out and said to quarantine, if you can, one person into one room, and that same person only uses a separate bathroom. It's completely untenable for the way that we live.
Oh, it's impossible. And like specifically here, like obviously I have my own personal bedroom, but these other guys, they're in double and triple rooms. Nobody here but me has a single bedroom. There's 3 guys in a room.
So I mean, masks everybody first off fucked the entire American healthcare system by buying the entire stock of masks. And I don't know what's going to happen, as far as just a routine medical shit happening requires masks to run. And it's dwindling quickly, to say the least. But
did you see the thing with the hand sanitizer, like hoarders? Like the guy, there was that one guy who bought like fucking, because a ton of people went out and bought it to be like entrepreneurial and then sell it for a markup on Amazon. But now Amazon has like clamped down on price gouging with that. So all these people are like, who did this, are like, I saw some headline with some guy who's got like 17,000 fucking bottles of hand sanitizer in his garage.
Gulags. This is what we need gulags for.
Somebody ought to go and take all his hand sanitizer. Obviously, it's a slightly different, but this calls to mind that metaphor you've used so many times, Dwight, which is perfect. Which is like the idea of the rich guy in the middle of a plague walking around with like a fucking sack full of vaccines. It's like that's literally happening now.
Yes, like literally. Yeah, the price gouging thing. I mean, this is fucking 10 years hard labor for doing that shit. And also too, I don't get the hand sanitizer thing, because yes, it is true that when you're on the go, you don't have access to like, hand washing stations, but washing your hands is vastly more effective than using Purell and alcohol-based hand sanitizers. I mean, the point is with alcohol-based hand sanitizers is to kill the thing that's on your hand.
Right.
And, they say that they're 99% effective, but if you actually like take a look at the sum total of how many bacterium or viruses are on your hands, like that still could leave hundreds of thousands of bacterium or viruses on your hands if we look at it like, just arithmetically. But secondly, too, what I've learned is that hand washing, especially with like real greasy, fatty soaps, like with Dawn or something like that, like a dishwashing soap that are real greasy, are the most effective in hand washing, because the fat encapsulates the viruses or the bacterium on your hands and essentially just like sloughs them off your hand. And if you've ever seen that, like that little experiment that you may have done in like 3rd grade or something, where you put some like pepper into some water, or you can alternatively do it with like food coloring on some milk to see the contrast, and dip your finger in some dishwashing liquid and just put that finger into that liquid, and you see the oil just separate everything away, and everything just shoots away from the finger that goes into the liquid. That's how it works. That's how soap works. That's how the detergent quality of soap works. So the most effective way to mitigate this disease, aside from prevention of even coming in contact with it, is hand washing thoroughly, and for 20 seconds or so, and do not touch your eyes until you do so. Do not touch your face until you wash your hands.
As Shane is literally touching his face right now. I am too. You can't. I don't have my camera on, but I am too. I'm constantly touching my beard and my face and stuff.
Same.
Yeah.
It's horrible. Like I was stood in line at the store yesterday for at least a half an hour to get some provisions, and my fucking face has never been so fucking itchy. My glasses were sliding down my face. My everything was tickling and touching, and the hair on my forehead and stuff. It was fucking agony. Obviously, I was thinking about it and exacerbating it, but fuck.
One way to alleviate the itching of your face is there's a couple of different types of makeup that you can put on. Particularly if you get like a full white face makeup with some blue around the eyes and then red around the lips.
Oh, God.
that not only helps, the itching, but it also, protects your face from, airborne and droplet-borne diseases. So if you're listening to this, if you have any Joker makeup lying around, I highly recommend you start wearing it. If you're still going to work, if you're going to the store, make sure you're wearing it, and make sure to put on a smile.
You want to know how I got these SARS?
Oh, God.
Dude, I saw yesterday, in the city, somebody was walking wearing a clown mask, and like they were taking like a selfie.
Hell yeah,
it was probably
it's starting, man. It's starting.
Dude, it's probably some Zoomer doing some TikTok or some shit. But I was like, I saw that, and my face literally did like the fucking Kubrick stare devil emoji. I was like, yes. Yeah, let's fucking do it, man. Let's fucking do it. I'm ready.
It's happening.
It's happening.
It's happening.
Yeah, man. I just economically, obviously, the fucking stock market has gone fucking haywire, and it is a super non-zero chance that we are about to go into a recession at the magnitude that 2008 was. Yeah. In which case, it's a fucking 1-2 punch for the working class in America. And furthermore, if we want to like dissect specifically how this is going to fuck over workers, especially those in the service industry that like require tips and for people to congregate in order to get paid. I mean, waiters, people that work in like theater, concerts. Fucking, I thought about this today. I was like, shit, I probably need to get a haircut later this week. Oh, damn. Are people like not going out to have, people touch their heads? Like, what happens to these people? And that's what got me so fucking angry at the gormless, fucking spineless, coward Democrats for proposing a bill that would only cover 2/3 of people's, if you're sick because of coronavirus, it would only cover 2/3 of your paycheck. I'm like, what's 2/3 of fucking minimum wage gonna do you?
No. Yeah.
It is fucked, man. It would be so much more appropriate, instead of giving money, bailouts to corporations, to give them to the people that are actually suffering. Also people that actually comprise corporations. But this is a further creation of economic inequality. The fact that the goddamn administration announced $1.5 trillion out of fucking nowhere.
Yeah.
The entirety of all student debt is $1.5 trillion. And they just out of nowhere just said, we're going to do this to shore up the repo markets in order to create, investor confidence and shit, after the market has been absolute fucking free fall in the last 2 weeks.
I mean, it'll be like the fucking 2008 bailouts where they just keep throwing money at a hole that keeps disappearing. Like it's not like even that amount. I think in total those bailouts ended up being like $11 trillion or something like that. It's just an insane amount of money that, again, you're
Our
just
money.
throwing at a hole that will go nowhere. You know what I mean? It's just like every trillion you throw in is another thing. And of course, I mean, it's overstated at this point, but it's the how are you going to pay for it argument, right? Anytime there's any kind of left-wing demand for any kind of thing that would help working people, any social welfare package, whatever, the first thing you get slapped with is, how are we going to pay for it? How are we going to pay for it? And it just never brought to mind in fucking, when it comes to bailing out the markets, or in the case of like a war or something. And to that end too, just briefly, when me and Carrie were watching, the president speak, we turned it on, and I guess they were a little late, so we ended up watching CNN. And I really only end up watching those channels if it's like the debate night or something. Besides that, I haven't watched news since I was like kind of forced to do so in my parents' house when I was growing up. Like I never like fucking watched the cable news, and I was thinking about like how, they were talking before the president were speaking, and they themselves were trying to, buttress this idea of like, oh, okay, this will be like a calming thing for the nation or whatever, or, trying to talk. And I was thinking about like my parents and everybody else in that older generation who watches cable news for like comfort, or like who like watches those people and thinks like, oh, well, maybe they'll say something good, or like maybe, these are the people I trust, I rely on to like bring me information. And it made me think about my own distrust of institutions and stuff. And it really just occurred to me in this one moment, like, I just fundamentally despise these people. I have no confidence in them. Most of them I actively hate. and I would gladly cheer their demise, and I was just thinking of how, again, that's such a generational divide where like, and I mean, we see it playing out vis-a-vis the election stuff, but just in general as well, like this belief in these old institutions that for our generation, like who came of age in the midst of the Iraq war and the recession, just have no confidence at all in any of these fucking people, and again, actively hate them and despise them. And it just like occurred to me, like, do they know how much, I mean, obviously Chris Matthews does, but like, do the rest of them know how much they're just like fucking hated by us? I don't know. It's a weird, I guess they probably don't care because they're rich, but
yeah,
it's just a strange thing to think that like in this moment there's really like there's nowhere to turn to comfort. I mean, I don't even turn to like the Twitter community for comfort. The rest, like, I'm already like on a constant edge of panic even when there isn't a pandemic. And so just turning on the phone and looking at everybody out there and on the internet superhighway just like freaking out too. It's like there's no comfort there. Do I get comfort from Rolo? He's freaking out all the time anyway. There's no release.
No. And I remember saying like at the end of 2009 being like, maybe 2020 will be better. Sorry, 2019, maybe 2020 will be better. And it's just progressively worse.
I can't believe you had. I can't even believe you had that thought. What were you thinking?
I was trying to be optimistic, man. Trying to be optimistic.
Do the listeners turn to us for comfort? I certainly hope not.
I turn to you guys for comfort. I mean, no, seriously.
I guess that's true.
Yeah, I mean, I don't remember what happened, but something happened the other 2 weeks ago or something, probably something enormous, and I don't even fucking remember because every day gets worse. But like, we got in the DM, and like you and we were all kind of joking around, and I felt a lot better because I'm like,
that's true.
Now we can't even fucking hang out in person, which is why this is something I've been interested in for a while. It's just I just learned it. I hope it's not fucking problematic or something to say, but like there's the Japanese word onnomi, which is like drinking panicking online in a group chat with your buddies. I was just like,
cool.
oh yeah, we'll probably do that later, something.
Yeah.
That's a totally safe way to do it. And then your bed's close by, so you don't have to take a cab home. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. I mean, on a serious level, like, especially given that, that we don't have those points of comfort coming from those places of institution. Like, I mean, I know everybody's panicking and stuff right now, but it is like, as things get worse, if they do, which hopefully, obviously, there is mitigation to the crisis, but if there isn't, and in any case, like, it is a good time to try and turn to the community that we've built online and look at each other, look out for each other, have words of comfort, or even just, be able to share venting stories. Because, I mean, I don't know, the quarantine thing is also kind of weird because I mostly work from home anyway, and so does Carrie, so it's not entirely, like, different.
I'm already quarantined.
So, like, but I understand that for a lot of people. I mean, I'm already starting to feel a little stir crazy after being sick for, like, about a week and just not even going outside once. So it's good to, I mean, obviously we're all panicking and stuff, but it's good to, sometimes just, have a good joke with your friends. I'm trying to think of some way to spin it positively. I'm coming up short because I feel like
go outside. Like, go outside. No, seriously, go for a walk. Like, you're not gonna taking a walk in the public park.
Shake hands with new friends. Kiss them on the lips.
Lick turnstiles if you can. Yeah, but like going for a walk, going outside, reconnecting with nature. I mean, the good news about all this is that like global emissions of like carbon emissions are like way down because of this. Like, I mean, this is the whole thing with the fucking airplanes that are
I was just gonna say, no, maybe not.
I fucking hate so capitalism. Oh my god, it's so. I'm sorry.
I like we had like so 2 minutes of positivity before the scream out happened.
It's so
again.
bad. How the fuck is Kissinger still alive, man? How is he still alive?
They have him locked in that like Norwegian seed vault. They're gonna plug him in like the fucking God Emperor of Mankind in Warhammer 40,000. They're just gonna plug him into like some giant necropolis and have like 1,000 psychics sacrifice for him every day to keep him alive.
Not a lot of people know this, but you know how like Senator Patrick Leahy was in The Dark Knight, like he was in the scene at the Bruce Wayne's apartment during the and the Joker comes in. Henry Kissinger is a huge Star Wars fan, and he actually came in as a stunt double in the last Star Wars movie as Emperor Palpatine, hooked up to the resurrected dead Palpatine, hooked up to the apparatus there.
It's just what I needed to be reminded of is that movie.
Yeah, dude. My exclamation there where I screamed, fuck capitalism. I've got my poor neighbors like looking to see who's just screaming through the window. He was holding a baby bassinet. Like, I feel bad.
It's okay. Every time we record, Carrie usually hangs out with Rolo in the other room, and she inevitably sends me a text like, "Are you okay?" She can hear me screaming.
I mean, I was thinking about this over the last 2 days, and not that this isn't helpful for making us feel better, but like I really feel like response wise and severity wise, this is like, or it's going to be like a hurricane disaster, but hitting every part of the country.
Sure, yeah.
Well, that's already, I mean, that's going around to different stores last night. That's certainly what it felt like. Cause like I've lived some places, especially like in Virginia where, even though we were a little bit inland, like we did quite often get hit, with some pretty intense tropical storms, and like that's a time where you would see a mad rush to the store and people would buy up supplies and stuff, but like I've never seen it on a scale that I saw it last night, where like every store I went to, I mean the shelves were the shelves, not only were the shelves empty, but like there was just the sheer number of people in the stores. I went to this grocery store and like the lines were from the registers all the way down the aisles to the back of the store, people with shopping carts full of stuff. Yeah, I mean, it really is. It's surreal. It's this sort of this like just at the very start of it, this mass panic and like just this very ominous feeling of like this is like something very bad.
Yeah, I mean, the good news is at least these are the state numbers coming out of China, is that the spread of the virus in China at least has slowed dramatically.
Well, they also built a bunch of fucking hospitals in the course of a week. Do you think we're gonna do that here?
Well, but that's the point. Like we talk talk about like what's a use for the U.S. military. Obviously, the U.S. military is used now to like control global capitalism, essentially, especially like the Navy and shit, blah blah blah. But like the military should be a great institution for disaster relief.
Of course, but it'll never be that way, at least under the current regime. I was just thinking, you know, how like, you know, you were saying, Chris, China built all them hospitals in a short amount of time. Our version of that is the Costco parking lot.
Right.
And I got something. Hold on, give me a second to.
Yeah, please.
I
Take
got
your
this.
time.
Hold on. All right.
I'm still.
Right.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm at the Taco Bell. I'm at the coronavirus testing station.
Oh my
I'm
God.
at the combination Taco Bell and coronavirus station. That's a little freebie for the Patreon subscribers.
Oh, God.
Thank you. We appreciate it.
It would be really funny if I do have the virus and I die, and that was the last thing I contributed to humanity.
You didn't get to defend your thesis, but
Yeah.
you got that out.
Posthumous PhD.
Oh my God. Yeah, man. I don't know. I can't overstate enough how bad it is that we have this current administration. Like this. We need socialism.
Yeah.
I'm trying not to get uppity, but like the degree to which a socialist worker-owned economy would help us in this moment is it can't be overstated.
Yeah.
If only there were some sort of candidate that was running on a platform that was worker-centric and would help people primarily rather than corporations.
Well, hopefully tomorrow he wipes the floor with Biden. Did you guys see Biden's live stream?
Oh, yes,
Dude,
I did.
holy
that,
shit.
yeah.
So good, dude. I mean, it's just incredible. I saw some people trying to defend him by being like, you know, hey, he's trying to pioneer a new technology he hasn't done before, which is amazing to me because a live stream is the same thing as like television cameras. It's just broadcast in a different place. It's the same exact setup.
It's no, what he's doing is no different. It's no different to him.
Yeah, exactly. So like, but in the thing where he's like holding the phone and he walks off camera, like he has no idea where he is, what's going on. He got like the year wrong.
Oh my
Like
God.
the motherfucker. Oh my God. He had like this weird eye twitch for like half of it going on. Like
He started
just clearly.
rambling about the fucking Delaware River estuary and how he's gonna spend $20 billion on Bolsonaro to stop him from killing Earth. Like, what is this?
Oh my God.
I mean, to me, it shows an utter fucking disinterest in the Democrats' efforts of trying to get Trump out of office.
I think I made a post to this effect. This is what I think that Bernie's like tactic in this debate thing tomorrow night should be if they don't end up canceling it.
Swearing.
But like all he has to do, right, is especially while the country is in the grip of this panic, is to lay out a comprehensive and detailed plan of how a Medicare for All system would mitigate this, and like a specific outline of like, here's what we would do right now if we had the power to, that the president isn't doing, and just very cleanly and simply lay it out in extreme detail, and then turn to Joe Biden and be like, what's your alternative? And because he would have none, he would just flounder and he would look like a fucking idiot. And in terms of like, again, seeking that kind of calm sense of security or whatever it is that people turn on the TV to feel in a moment of panic. Like on the one hand, you have like a leadership position, you know, that is willing to be filled by a guy who like actually has a strategy and a plan and a vision for what an alternative society would look like. And on the other hand, you have somebody who doesn't even realize he's on TV. Like,
yeah.
So I think that could potentially be strong enough. But again, who even knows? I saw some rumors at some places that might suspend their primaries for a little bit due to the panic over the virus. Who the fuck knows what's going to happen or how this is going to shake out politically?
They're gonna have the close. There's no more primary, no more voting. They're gonna cancel. You know, they're gonna turn the public away from the convention. They're gonna have a closed door convention where they're gonna release puffs of white smoke to let us know that they've chosen Joe Biden.
You know, I've seen people speculate that it's very possible that, you know, the establishment knows that Biden's incompetent. They're just using him to beat Bernie in terms of delegate counts, and then at the convention they'll swap him out for somebody else.
Of course,
and if that happens, how amazing would it be if they just picked Hillary Clinton?
No, they pick Hillary Clinton, and then she loses again, and then
that's what would happen. Obviously,
and then like Trump's second term, he removes term limits, and then just like for the next like 20 years, just every 4 years they run Hillary again, and she loses. She just eats shit to him like 5 times.
How you get out of this process without being completely blackpilled on electoralism, I'll never know. It's so bad. If we can invoke our tagline for the show, late stage capitalism hell-bent on staving off its death rattle. This is what it looks like. Capitalism's done, guys. Yeah. Like, capitalism is over. And I'm a little bit jealous of a shout out to our buddies from the District Sentinel and Means TV for invoking the term post-capitalism. Because I think that's not only is it hopeful, but it's also like, I think a bit more appropriate because capitalism is dead. We're just living in the zombified corpse that's like exsanguinating and like just emitting gas.
We're truly the question, like we've said it before, is like, it's socialism or fascism. That's it. That's where we are now.
I had a thought when watching Trump's thing yesterday that if he didn't have coronavirus, which he most certainly does, that we could have like gotten into martial law or something. Like he would have been like, fuck it, martial law, let's do it. But because he's perspiring and feverish and sweating and potentially immunocompromised from just the thousands of milligrams of trans fats that he has eaten in the last like 6 weeks as part of his normal course of diet, that he just wasn't up for it. He's just like, another time, we're just gonna bring out the CEOs. It'll be fine.
So apparently while we were recording, just on that note, they did another announcement from the White House, and the word is that Trump has now been tested for the coronavirus.
Is it?
Yeah.
And?
No indication of what the results are, but he did get tested.
Uh-huh. Interesting.
His condition must have worsened since yesterday. They can't deny it anymore.
Yeah.
Wow, look at that.
So in addition to Bolsonaro, hopefully by the time anybody hears this, the president of the United States will also be dead.
All right.
That's for tomorrow.
Yeah.
That's for tomorrow.
Not saying I'm gonna do it. I'm not even endorsing it as a good or bad thing. Just saying.
I know we're running long, but like I also just want to say, like, I'm sorry we didn't talk about this, but the U.S. shutting down travel between Europe and the United States, is that not a fucking fascistic turn?
I mean, it's one of the things that would be the smart move to do in a pandemic, but the selection of countries and the fact that they jumped to that as their first move as opposed to setting up the infrastructure here to deal with like sick people is very telling of their kind of priorities and intention.
Yeah. So we really did fail to close this show on an uplifting note.
No. I mean, more time inside, more time for gaming.
Yeah, that's the... I can't even... Jesus, God.
Oh fine.
My God.
Dude, I want to get Civilization 6 so bad, man. That's all I'm thinking about now.
Yeah, hit me up on Steam if you're listening to this. We can play multiplayer.
Bro, you need to go to the Steam room, dude.
Oh, God, that cough really peaked out my levels.
Yeah, today, I'm just self-quarantining. I'm just probably going to make my incredible chicken salad, which I did tweet out the recipe for. Please send pictures if you make it. And yes, it is the best chicken salad you've ever had. I'm just going to cook and chill and maybe I said this morning in the DM, I might do some solo recording a la Colonel Kurtz in Apocalypse Now.
And I thought the brilliance of it, the horror, the sheer horror.
Sometimes if I'm out at a restaurant and I have a few too many glasses of wine, I'll stuff some napkin in the back of my cheeks and do a
No, do you really?
Brando? Yeah, dude, Brando.
Sometimes when I'm at a restaurant, I stuff napkins in my cheeks so I can have them at home for later.
That's what we should all be doing, is hoarding food in our cheeks like chipmunks and hamsters.
Well, no, seriously, last night I was like, man, I should have brought a backpack because I could just go in this fucking Target bath. I could just, instead of going from store to store and like not being able to buy toilet paper, I could just be going store to store and just stealing those big fucking industrial rolls they've got in their bathrooms. So take that. That's a hot tip. Yeah. Just steal toilet paper from public bathrooms.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. We're going to see what happens with, like, you know, our global supply chain and shit. I mean, this is some unprecedented stuff. Again, this has happened in America with the Spanish flu in 1918 or whatever.
Spit spreads death.
Is that what they said?
They used to hang up these posters. Yeah, it said spit spreads death, because I guess spitting in public was a more, like, common thing back then.
Oh, well, beer pong's out then.
Yeah, they had a whole exhibit on the Spanish flu when we went to the Mutter Museum here in Philadelphia. And they showed, like, how the pandemic spread and how people dealt with it. They had all these, I remember there was this, like, binder they had with all these historical news clippings from newspapers that tracked, like, the spread of it and how they dealt with it in the beginning, sort of talking about it not being such a big deal, and then how it, like, quickly escalated into panic. This was only, like, a couple months ago, and I remember I was there with Carrie and a few of her friends, and I was looking at it, and I was like, man, this is exactly how the media would react now if something like that happened. And as always, I was proven right.
And what happened? Jesus Christ. We should probably end it here so we can allow you to convalesce, Shane.
I'm good. It's fine.
Jesus Christ. All right, guys. I think that's a goodie.
All right, stay cool, folks.
Stay cool, everyone.
God, stay cool. Jesus Christ, Shane.
I need some more cough medicine. Don't buy hand sanitizer. Buy fucking the heavy cough medicine, and disregard what it says on the bottle about how much you can take.
No, please.
You can just drink the whole fucking thing until the cough goes away.
Absolutely not. You want to take it exactly as directed.
I used to drink like whole bottles full of
shit
in middle school. I'm fine.
Hell yeah.
I turned out fine.
Yeah, it's okay. You're fine.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
As long as you don't get the one with the acetaminophen in it, that can actually get toxic in your body.
Yeah.
Get the one that just says the Dexa whatever.
Yeah, hit up
whatever.
my DMs. I can guide you to what the good shit is.
A really unpleasant feeling of disassociation for about a couple hours. Yeah, it's an amazing experience.
Stay cool, everybody, before anybody gets any bad medical advice.
Global controls will have to be imposed, and a world governing body will be created to enforce them. Crises precipitate change.
Secretly plotting your demise. I want to devise a virus to bring dire straits to your environment. Crush your corporations with a mild touch. Trash the whole computer system and revert you to papyrus. I want to make a super virus strong enough to cause blackouts in every single metropolis. Cause they don't want to unify us, so fuck it. Total anarchy and can't nobody stop us. You see, late in the evening, fucked up on my computer and my mind starts roaming. I create like a heathen. The first cycles of this virus I can send through a modem. Infiltration hit your station. No Microsoft or enhanced DOS will impede. Society thinks they're safe when bingo, hard drive crashes from the rending. A lot of hackers tried viruses before. Vaporize your text like so much whiteout. I want it where file replication is a chore. Lights out, shut down entire White House. I don't want just a bug that could be corrected. I'm erecting immaculate design. Break the nation down section by section. Even to the greatest minds, it's impossible to find. I want to devise a virus to bring dire straits to your environment. Crush your corporations with a mild touch. Trash your whole computer system and revert you to papyrus. I want to devise a virus to bring dire straits to your environment. Crush your corporations with a mild touch. Trash your whole computer system and revert you to papyrus.
I have already planned